Are you ready for Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous? Because I am. Tips and tricks to get you started in Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. I won't postpone or waste your time, no bloody intros and talking, no mumbo jumbo blabbering in empty on this channel. Let's go to tips and tricks straight away. Tip 1. Detect enemies. Eye over here in the bottom left. Once you click on it, you're gonna hover over enemy and check their armor class, dodge, resists, and their damage. It's very important. Pay attention on every detail here. Don't be lazy. Read their stats. You will know exactly what type of damage to deal, what to avoid, and how dangerous the enemy is. Tip 2. I know how most of the guides will tell you to play on auto level up, but in my eyes that's blasphemy that completely destroys CRPGs. If you believe in media and in news, then play on auto level up for sure. If you are a bit smarter than that, please level characters on your own. If you make a mistake, so what? You learn by making mistakes. It's a normal thing. If you want more help, just check my builds. I got 200 builds for all of the classes and subclasses in the game on this channel. If you need even more help, feel free to ask or come when I live stream for immediate response. So, delete auto level up and use your own brain. It's the entire point behind CRPGs. Freedom of choice. Don't ruin it. Tip 3. Formation and positioning. Please put your casters behind, your melees up in front, supports in the middle, and ranged characters on the side. This is the proper way. You get flanks, you get the middle point, and you protect your spellcasters like this. Tip 4. Always open combat from sneaking mechanics. You see this little eye over here? When you're white, it means you're sneaking. When you're not, it means you're not sneaking. How we do it? We use sneaking, and we slowly go over there towards the enemy. We use some long range spell, and this is how we're gonna open every combat. When the enemy is harder, we use pre-buffs, and we do the exact same thing. This is the proper way to open every fight when available, of course. Tip 5. You will be forced to play on harder difficulties with specific classes, or better to say classes that got animal companions, or a high dodge characters, especially early on. I'm sorry, but that's life. If you want to play something else, you need to go with easier difficulties. Only and only pros that can make perfect builds can play on unfair difficulty with all classes. Tip 6. Make sure you remain light in Encumbrance, non-freaking stop. The first line that you see over here, that will be light. Non-stop. Do not go above light. It will slow you down when you travel on the main map, world map. It's gonna reflect on combat as well. Just keep this line low. Tip 7. Pick what you like to play. Don't go for OP builds if you read somewhere that the build is OP. Have fun on your first run. If you want to play a freaking healer tiefling, do it, damn it. Do not copy others. I repeat again, this is a CRPG. Freedom is the thing that's most important here, and you got freedom of choice. And man, you got plenty of choices to pick from. Tip 8. It's dices. Gambling. Dice is for everything, for skill checks, for conversations, for combat. Don't worry if you fail. Just restart the fight, restart the sequence, restart the skill check. Dices are a bitch. It's like gambling. The harder the difficulty is, the less luck you'll have. This is a combat gambling. Same applies to skill checks. Just chill. Tip 9. Turn-based mod or real time. A real freaking time. And only real time. This is a long game. Turn-based mod fights will take tremendous amount of time. Imagine when you fail, reload, lose precious lifetime, people. Don't do it. Devs are making turn-based mod in classic real-time CRPGs to sell the game better, and to make it work on consoles and to accommodate console players. If you're playing on a PC, Learn to play the proper way in real time with pauses. It's 10 times faster and better and more immersive. Imagine if football or basketball are turn-based. Would you still watch games? Nah, I guess not. Well, once you get used to the real-time classic isometric CRPGs, for sure you won't play turn-based. Leave turn-based mod to experts like Fargo's Wasteland 3 or Larian's Divinity, alright? Pathfinder is real-time CRPG with pause mechanics. Respect the game and keep it in real time. Tip 10. Even though I know it is tempting to become a Lich or some other mythic pet of choice, forget about it. Focus on early game. Focus on character creation screen. Focus on first few levels. Mythic pets and multiclassing won't grow legs and escape from you. You'll get there. Take small steps, step by step. Tip 11. They did tutorial well this time compared to vanilla version of Pathfinder Kingmaker. Read freaking tutorial to learn basic mechanics of the game. Don't be lazy, guys. This is not MOBA with 6 buttons or Counter-Strike with 2 buttons mash. This is a proper old school CRPG where you will be forced to use the entire keyboard to play properly. So please read your encyclopedia, your journal, tutorial, do it. Tip 12. Hardest difficulty, unfair, is indeed unfair. It's true to its word. It's for experienced players that dedicate thousands of hours in CRPGs. It requires a lot of fine-tuning and knowledge, and a lot of loading and reloading screens, not to mention perfect party compositions and perfect builds. I'll throw full time on unfair with companions, or better to say without mercs, to make it even harder, to check if it's even doable to finish the game in its vanilla state. Before you click on that unfair button, heed my warning, you'll die. Dark Souls and other hard games are a walk in a freaking park compared to unfair in Pathfinder. Tip 13. This is 90% the same game as Pathfinder Kingmaker, where the same rules apply. The only thing that changed is a rotating camera and bigger variety in classes. With that in mind, I made the ultimate guide for Pathfinder Kingmaker with all tips and tricks, and it's 90% valid for Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. You can find it on this channel. I also made 200 different builds for all classes and subclasses for you on this channel too. Check them out. Tip 14. Some enemies receive more damage from piercing attacks, some receive more damage with blunt attacks, some receive with specific element, alright? Acid, fire, electricity and so on. So please pay attention to their resists and weaknesses. If you don't deal damage, there is a reason why you don't deal damage. The game doesn't cheat. Tip 15. Prepare in advance your nerves and your mind for tons of bugs, nothing you can do about it. Be happy that the games like this exists at all, and do not complain. Tip 16. Forget about strategizing on higher difficulties and tanking, okay? Everything revolves on first few dices and who will burst first. So learn to prioritize targets and play like a maniac. This is not Divinity Original Sin. In time, you'll also learn how to kite. Make sure your thumb is 24/7 on a pause button on your keyboard so you can press it on every second when you play, because every second matters. For easier difficulties, play with a tank or whatever you like, it really doesn't matter that much. Tip 17. Skills, or better to say skill checks. Most important skill checks, and skill checks that you'll use the most in the game, are athletics, mobility, trickery, perception, and persuasion. Trickery, perception, and persuasion, definitely the 3 most important ones. After that comes athletics and mobility, and then it's everything else. Alright, that's by importance. Tip 18. If you can't win the fight, use pre-buffs. They're extremely important, and it's the main mechanic of the game. I explained how it works in detail on my Pathfinder Kingmaker The Ultimate Guide video on this channel. I'll explain it in short here. You want to use 10 minutes per level buffs first, then 1 minute per level buff, okay? And just before you enter the fight, like 1 second before you enter. You'll use 1 round per level buffs. That's the way to stay focused on combat spells and skills and not worry about buffing up in the middle of freaking combat. Never use buffs once the fight starts. You'll lose. You're gonna lose a lot for sure. This is the moment when you attack. Do not waste precious rounds in vain. Tip 19. Do not multiclass on your first run. You'll never be able to see highest level spells that exist in a game. Alright? A lot of subclasses are actually multiclasses. You know, when you see, like for example, Alchemist, then it's Grenadier, that's a freaking multiclass, alright? Especially those weird classes like Cavalier, or War Priest, or Slayer, or Skald. Those are multiclasses, okay? They're subclasses, they are already multiclasses. So do not make manual multiclasses for your first run. Main advantage with those subclasses that are indeed multiclasses is that you can actually see highest level spells for them in the game. You won't be able to do it if you mix classes. Make the right choice. Tip 20. Make sure you have at least 1 healer in your team. Potions are not enough, especially not on harder difficulties. For more complicated fights, please switch the stupid AI off, cause they can do some amazingly stupid things if you do not switch it off. For easier fights, turn it on and enjoy. Just make sure you have casters under your control. Melees can go with full AI, but casters, man, they can destroy everything in a matter of seconds. Tip 21, and the final one I'll give. Try to push as much as you can before you decide to rest. Alright? Why? You never know what's gonna happen. Maybe you're gonna get lucky even if your entire team is on 1 HP, you know, and maybe you're gonna get that lucky crit or something and you will prolong your run a bit longer, alright? Because time matters in this game. It's extremely important, so take some risk, damn it. So as you can tell, my tips, okay, are, I don't know how to properly explain that. I don't like wasting time, alright? And I don't like lying to people, okay, just because of views and clicks. I say how it is. And in all of my tips over there that I said, that's how it is, alright? Like, why would you even watch guides and no matter what, builds or something when someone comes and tells you to use AUTOLEVELUP? I mean, come on, come on. They earn money like that, okay, with what? With AUTOLEVELUP. I'm telling you how it is. Use your own brain. Use your freaking own brain. Alright? And I'll be seeing you soon. Very, very soon on the next one.